4 here with another video. Today, I'll be showing you how to create an offline profile in Windows 10. Now let's get right into it, right after a word from our sponsors, Rage.
Ladies and gentlemen, kids of all ages, it's just me tonight. I am the lone person. I'm probably not gonna stick around really long, but I knew we had the thing posted, and I wanted to go ahead and come on there. I don't even know if anyone else is out there. So if you're in the chat, call out, and we can go ahead and talk about it. Today we were, and we'll probably bring this up again. Last week we talked about public domain and its influence in pop culture. And today we were going to have a discussion about pop culture, about public domain and when it's been used well, specifically in comics. And looking at Young All-Stars, Roy Thomas and Dan Thomas's work in the Young All-Stars, and in the Oz Wonderland War by E. Nelson Bridwell, he of Mad Magazine fame in the Captain Carrot and the Amazing Zoo Crew Prestige Mini. I can't suppose it was Prestige. They were exercise minis from '85. And I have just recently been reading Captain Carrot. It came on me. For those of you who may or may not know, I was a huge fan of the Inferior Five and of DC's 1960s satirical superhero comedy book, The Inferior Five, which is great fun for me. Really enjoyed those stories, and I was revisiting them after Christmas, using some of that Christmas scratch to flesh out my collection of a few issues here and there. And I discovered that they had an appearance at the end of this Oz Wonderland War, a miniseries, and just this cameo thing. And actually, you know what? While we're at it, let me go ahead and just share that image. I'll load that up here so you guys can take a look at the Inferior Five in the book. Here we go on the last page. And present screen, share screen. Right there. Here you've got Captain Carrot in his civilian identity, and you have Awkward Man and White Feather and Dumb Bunny, and Merry Man, and of course the Blimp there. Anyway, they were teasing for the addition of a crossover between between the Inferior Five and the Zoo Crew, which would have been pretty legit, frankly, because I really enjoy the Inferior Five. It's good, funny stuff. I've never really been into the Zoo Crew. This is my first exposure to the Zoo Crew, and it has been. I've been aware of it. It just never really tickled my fancy, so I never looked into it. But I've really been enjoying the Oz War, and the part of the thing is the whole premise is that the Cheshire Cat shows up one day to enlist the Zoo Crew to come to Oz, to come he in Wonderland and in the Looking Glass world have become aware that over in Oz, the Gnome King has risen an army and invaded and taken hostage all of the mages and leaders of Oz. And so they are building an army and seeking for the path between hey Fizz, how's it going? linking this to find the path between Oz and Wonderland, that they're connected realms, and the Gnome King, once he discovers the pathway to Wonderland, he'll overthrow it the same way he overthrew Oz. And so the Cheshire Cat comes to call the zoo crew to Wonderland, that they might enlist the aid of Wonderland natives to start freeing Oz. And it is a fun story. And it's silly, it's zany. The characters seem very true to their source material. It's just wild. It's a wild, fun story. And I was going to use this as an example of public domain characters done right. That they are adding to the mythology of the story they're being used in, as well as not taking anything away from the source material. And we're also going to talk about League of Extraordinary Gentlemen and whether or not Alan Moore pulls it off there, which I was really looking forward to talking over with Twitless, because he has some very interesting thoughts about League of Extraordinary Gentlemen and Alan Moore in those contexts. So we'll have to revisit this theme on a later show, I suppose, because it doesn't make a lot of sense for me to be the only voice on that discussion. So yeah, I guess another thing I could talk about is I've been reading the Shade series from 2011, which is a follow-up to Starman, the Jack Knight Starman series, written by James Robinson. Really been enjoying that. There is, ironically, there is a little bit of public domain stuff in the Starman series, as the origin for the Shade has been pulled from. Yes, that Shade. Yes, not Shade the Changing Man, Shade the supervillain. Has been the origin for the Shade was pulled. Robinson retrofitted it back to a Dickens story. I can't remember the name of it right now, but yeah. So that's kind of the stuff I've been reading lately. But I don't have a heck of a lot to talk on about, because a lot of my show is dependent upon riffing off of other people have to say. So for those of you guys who tuning in looking for something really exciting, I think you're probably gonna have to look to tune in maybe next week. Seeing just how that goes. So yeah, indeed. So let me just double check my Facebook messages just in case Hutch gets back to me. Nah, it looks like he can't make it. So which is a bummer. So I will probably wrap the show early just so that I can get back to reading comics, maybe even work on some. There'll be a new page this weekend on Force's senior year. I need to do some more writing, so we have a page for next week. It's not quite ready yet to send to Mrs. H, although Mrs. H is prepared to draw the next one, lickety split. So I gotta really hit the old tippity tappy with that. But that's kind of where things are at the minute, I suppose. Speaking of public domain characters and things, I don't know if you guys heard the oh man, Silver Lake Gossip out there. Nick Mueller, who wrote Winnie the Pooh Demon Hunter, and is his adaptation of the Pooh character, which is so much fun, because he takes the A.A. Milne stories and assumes them as written, but then places that within a larger fairy tale context that connects to his larger demon hunter mythos. It's just silly and fun. In fact, it's everything is the same kind of silly fun that in the same flavor that is being done here with the Oz Wonderland War. Actually, thinking about it like that, it's the silliness and the use of action are very, very similar. The way the characters are being played are very, very similar. The worlds are different, and the it's Nick's own brand of stuff. Anyway, so Nick had me on to edit that, and which has been a great pleasure. And the first section of the first part of the first issue was to have been printed in Manga Z by Antarctic, but apparently there was some sort of snafu, and Nick's property got confused for Canada Bear. And it looks like Canada Bear is actually what got printed, but Nick's name was attached to it. Oh, it was a whole ordeal. I've been over on Twitter a lot yesterday or whatever, and the two teams are playing together really nicely and understanding as far as the Canada Bear people and Nick. People are pretty understanding about stuff, but it's a rough thing to go to print at. Somebody was not dotting I's and crossing T's well enough on that one, which is a terrifying position. I've been there with not on that level, not going to comic shops, but some of our self-published stuff that came back from the printer with artifacts or stuff that we didn't think were there, or all kinds of stuff we've seen. But I guess that is most of the ranting that I have there. Guys, keep in mind, Metal has been going through some stuff behind the scenes. Things he says are good, but he still cannot be with us right now, which is unfortunate. So keep him in mind. And I think that is going to be where we leave off today. I mean, unless people in the chat have questions of me that they'd like to ask, something that comes to mind. I want to give you commentary on it. I'll sit and drink coffee for a little while and let people have a chance to ask something. Thank you for showing up, Fizz, though. I know you can't always make it, and then when you can, we've got a dud of a show. Just me doing a tiny rant about a comic I'm reading, or a couple that I've really, really been enjoying. Oz Wonderland War. I read one interview or review, not interview, but a review, where somebody said that there wasn't enough character development, and it left it being a shallow piece. And it was funny to me because it's like, we're not, this isn't supposed to be Shakespeare. It's a funny animal comic. So it said there were too many puns in a Captain Carrot comic. Too many puns. Can you all imagine the world in which there are just too many puns in a Captain Carrot comic? Anyhow, also spoiler alert though, Hoppy the Marvel Bunny makes an appearance in issue 2. That's wicked cool. So anyway, cats, kittens, ladies and gents, I think we're going to call it there for today, because I have run out of things that I think are interesting to listen to. So hopefully that the last 15 minutes haven't been a total waste to y'all. I do recommend checking this book out, and I think it's a great example of the positive uses of public domain as far as enriching new stories, not simply adapting old stories, but enriching new stories. So we will, until next time, we will have a full discussion with other people. We may be readjusting this next week. We may be looking at Superman number 5. I'm not sure. We'll get that figured out, hopefully advertised ahead of time. But until next time, you guys get out there and read some more comics. Later.